Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Square One podcast. We're taking our guests back to square one where they first started their careers or their businesses, and we're going to learn from their failures. Square One's brought to you by Omni Home Services, which represents Chattanooga Home Inspector, Elevate Home Staging Design, Nuclear Pest Control, Radon Eraser, and hopefully some more business entities in the future. I'm your host, Malcolm Godwin. Thank you for listening. Today we have super co-host Jen Bunyak with Omni Home Services. We're always, as normal, Madison McCann with Speakeasy Productions. And today we got a good friend of mine, or a good acquaintance at least, Jason Smith with Catch a Lift Foundation. What's up, dude?
Oh, not much, man. Just happy to be here.
So if you don't know, I'm just going to set the ground rules real quick for Jason. Jason's an Army vet, real good friend of mine. We met at the gym. Won't say what gym because it was super nasty, but a little about Jason. I call him Legs. His nickname is Legs because he doesn't have any legs, and he's really cool about the idea. He stepped on an IED several years ago and lost his legs, but just to paint a picture, there was often times that we would be like showing up at the gym at the same time, and like I would see him and like honk on the horn, and he'd get out and like, hey, I don't have any legs. And I'd be like, I don't care. And like people in the parking lot would be like, oh my gosh, what in the world? It was a lot of fun. So Jason, you're here today. Tell us about Catch a Lift Foundation, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Catch a Lift is a nonprofit, and it's for veterans post-career. So what we do is we help veterans do grants for gym equipment, and we do gyms, whichever gyms they would like to go to. And that's kind of the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Catch a Lift. We also bring into a holistic approach of healing. We build a community, and there's over 11,000 veterans that have come into the program, and last year we had over 880.
What do you do at Catch a Lift?
So my positions at Catch a Lift are adaptive trainer. So anybody that comes into the program that's missing a limb or has like a bad back or can't move like they used to, I help them really learn how to do the movements because I've been doing it for so long. I can help cut that time of, my time was 5 years to figure out exactly how to use my new body, right? I can cut that time to months or weeks for them. I know what works, and I can help them get where they want to be faster than I did. And then I also help on the corporate side, I would say. So I do, I don't know, like soft logistics maybe.
You used to do some kind of fundraising for that, right? Do you still do that?
Yeah, we still do them. They're called CHCs, Coughlin Hero Challenges. So we go to local gyms. If you own a CrossFit gym and you want to learn more about Catch a Lift, what we do is we come in there. We bring more eyes into the program, or if your CrossFit gym, and then also it brings more eyes onto our program. And what we do is we do either your workout or a tailored workout that we like to do, and it just raises money for the veterans.
Fantastic.
How do we find, or if there's a veteran out there that's listening to our podcast, how do they find you and or Catch a Lift?
catchaliftfund.org.
Any social media?
They do. They have Instagram and Facebook.
And how can we find you?
Oh,
Catchadonkeyonthefarm.com?
Yeah, I'm irrelevant, but yeah, I'm on Instagram at SmithMachine85.
SmithMachine85. So no goats or anything in that?
No, not yet.
Jason has recently moved out to a farm and has donkeys and all kinds of chickens and stuff, but nobody wants to hear about that. They want to hear about, tell us about your gold medals in the Warrior Games.
So first, the Warrior Games is it's essentially the National Wounded Veteran Olympics. It's the highest level you can go nationally. Each branch of the military has a team. I was Team Army, and I made the team in 2022. And there I won a silver in powerlifting, and I won 2 golds in rowing, 1 minute row, and then the 4-minute endurance row.
So you got a medal in 1 minute rowing.
I did, yeah.
You couldn't go any farther or longer than that? Just 1 minute?
That's all I got.
That's it? Cool.
That's it.
Cool. Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And you're doing that again this year in June?
I am. Yeah, same sports again, and hope to have the same outcome.
You doing the 1 minute row, or are you going to go for like the 2?
The 1 and the 4. That's all they offer.
Got you.
Yeah.
How do you measure powerlifting? Is it by like a weight thing?
It is. So you have weight classes. I am in the 78 to 87 kilogram class, and I don't know what that is in pounds. I'm American, but I mean,
we can do math. You times that by 2.2. So
okay, great. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it's very cool, and it's just it's very neat to be able to compete with veterans. Again, and just really, I didn't think this thing was able to happen after I got hurt. I had a jacked up hand, missing legs. I didn't know what quality of life was going to come next. So being able to go out there and show what I got and actually win is huge for my psyche.
Awesome. So let's back that up a little bit. We talk about failures on this podcast. I love the idea of what you put on your notes here as your failure, but that's going to kind of lead us into the quality of life and what you thought was going to happen. So tell us about what you wrote down here as a failure.
Yeah. So I consider my biggest failure stepping on the IED. So I joined the military in 2009 and I deployed in March of 2012. July of 2012, I stepped on a 15-pound IED and I lost both my legs immediately. And then my right hand was pretty banged up. Did rehab in the hospital for about 2.5 months and then moved into like rehab in occupational therapy and physical therapy. And, we're trained not to step on those things, right? We're trained to look for signs. We're trained, year round. And this one eluded me. And I consider that the biggest failure, but also, again, it being the blessing. I wasn't a bad person, but I thought what mattered didn't really matter, right? Going out to the bars, being the biggest dude in the room, none of that matters. What matters at the end is like family, loyalty, honor, stuff like that. And I learned a lot of that. It humbled me very quickly after I got hurt. So that's, I'm a better version of who I am now,
I love that. I mean, all you got to do is if you're struggling in life, just go find you an IED and step on it, right?
Good pension.
I do know that you're very involved with the family. We've done several inspections and mold tests for you and your family because your daughter is highly allergic to a specific type of mold. So the fact that you guys will just pack up and find a different house just for her is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Family's the only thing that really matters.
Let's talk about ROI.
Okay.
All right. So between the farm and Catch a Lift, we did ask one tactic that you would advise implementing to see a positive ROI in the world of business. And your answer was don't cut corners. Nice and simple. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. So I don't own a business, but what I can tell you post-COVID is that I feel the quality of workmanship has gone down. I've seen it. I've hired a lot of people to paint my house. I've had a lot of people to do certain things, and the workmanship isn't there. And I don't know why. I think because of, the handouts and everything everything was shut down. People just got complacent. Something about Malcolm is that he showed up to my house every time. He didn't have to. He could have sent somebody. He's done a phenomenal job for me multiple times, and I respect him as not only a business owner but as a friend. All jokes aside, he's a heck of a man, and he's honest. I commend him for that.
Here's your $20. Thank you very much.
You said if you get in there and bust ass, people will take notice.
Absolutely. As with anything, so we met in the gym. You probably saw that I was in there to work and not mess around, and that's kind of how we started talking. It's because you were there to work as well. So
I was there to mess around. Just get that clear.
But you need to have, find your purpose, right? If it's not your purpose, you're going to half-ass things. So if you're doing this out of like passion, right, you're going to do your best job. And I feel like people a lot of times look at jobs as just that, a job, but if it's actually your lifestyle, it needs to be treated as such.
Speaking of lifestyle, donkey jokes aside, can you tell us more about the farm? You said you don't own a business or you don't run a business, but I know that farming is a business.
Yeah. So we moved to a farm in July of last year, and since then I have a problem. I'll start with that. I've bought 2 Highland cows, ducks, chickens, goats, 4 donkeys, a pig. I don't know. I just feel like I got a hole in my heart, and I fill it with animals. And I
You do have a problem.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I mean, honestly, I don't know. It's just real tranquil out there, and there's no loud noises. Right, I'm close enough to get whatever I need, but I'm far enough away to not be annoyed by anything, and I really like that.
He just pets the animals. When it comes to like feeding and working, he makes his wife Lauren.
Yeah.
So there's it's a petting zoo.
I have leg pain when it's time to feed them. Yeah. So something came up.
It's funny you say that the tranquility, like the last, I don't know, 5 nights in a row, I've just thought to myself, there's a lot of fucking sirens. Like right here. All I hear is sirens. So that's fun. Going back to quality of work, I just kind of like ad lib or off script here. You said the quality of work since COVID has plummeted, and you don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the only thing I can come up with is just complacency. You know, there were a lot of handouts, and a lot of people don't really want to work anymore. I mean, you tell me, you're a business owner. What have you seen?
I was going to just ask the peanut gallery here, like, what is the thoughts? I don't know either, and I'd love to know. I think you're right, handouts. I think the fact that we have to pay people more just because they show up. Like, not even if you have a skill, but if you're here on the time that we say, that's going to put you ahead. Like, that's the quality that I don't know the answer. I don't know the remedy.
I don't think this is the answer by any means, but you mentioned finding your purpose. And I think COVID really, without getting too psychological there, burnt some people out. And when you're burnt out and you're not thinking about a purpose, work is kind of the last thing on your mind. Everything's kind of the last thing on your mind. I feel like there's been just an overall kind of settle of that drive. And people are kind of on a journey to rediscover that purpose, hopefully, or they don't. And then they kind of suck.
Yeah, it was a really weird 24 months. Yeah.
Jason, so we do ask our guest, what is a favorite routine of yours? Tell us about a routine of yours that you enjoy.
Yeah, so post-injury, I use fitness as kind of a de-stressor. For the longest time, I'd go in there and just kill myself in the gym, not really have a trajectory, right? I was just going in there to go in there. But still, to this day now, I have a trajectory and I know what I want to do. I have a program and a plan, but I still like to get up before everybody else in my house wakes up. I like to get out and into the gym. We have a home gym, and I like to get that worked out. And then I like to go into the sauna and just kind of de-stress there and kind of get the day going. And at about that time, my son and my daughter start to wake up.
I love that you talk about fitness. I think the majority of guests do put some emphasis on that because, just because it's, helping you not die at an early age.
Yeah.
But I recently read or am reading a book by Arnold Schwarzenegger that's called How to Be Useful. And he says, and it's funny you mentioned going in the gym and just throwing weight around, but he said he would always ask people like, what's your goal? And they say, well, to be fit. And he's like, what do you mean by that? So like, are you training for a marathon? Are you training to be a weightlifter and a show class, et cetera, et cetera? So he actually just kind of made it very pointed, whether it's fitness or business or personal life, whatever. If you're just randomly running around in circles, guess what you're doing? You're randomly running around in circles. That gets you nowhere.
Yeah.
So good for you to have a goal. And I'm guessing, can you tell us about that goal? Is it the 1 minute rowing?
So rowing is, I really like it. I do concept 2 rowing. And oddly enough, when I joined Catch a Lift, one of the things they gave me in the very beginning was a rower. And that led to 4 gold medals and an unofficial world record. I have to go and get classified. I broke the 1 minute world record row for my classification.
Well, tell us more about this.
All right. So the old record was 2:22, but I'm not classified yet. I have to go in front of a panel, get classified, and then from there, they judge me. But I rowed 3:50 in a minute.
So the last record was 222, and you did 350. What do you mean you have to get classified?
So you have to go in front of a panel of judges. They have to classify you to be kind of
official.
Official, nationally ranked, stuff like that.
Can they not just like sit there and like start a timer?
Yeah, but you have to get. I'm classified through Warrior Games and Invictus. I'm not classified through, like U.S. rowing. So it's a whole thing that I don't really understand. All I know is I have to be somewhere at a certain time. They're going to tell me yes, tell me no, and then.
So you broke the world record, or you didn't?
No, I did. Yeah,
but you didn't officially.
Unofficially. Yeah, unofficially.
So you didn't.
Okay, yeah, you got it. Yeah.
So if we look at Guinness Book of World Records, you're not going to be in there.
Yeah, if you go to Concept 2 Rowing and look at their records, I won't be there.
But after you get classified, you will be there? Yeah. Okay. 222 to 350 is a hell of a jump.
Yeah.
Good. Well, congratulations, buddy.
Thank you.
Is that because you don't have legs?
So there are different ones. There are different classes. I'm glad you asked that. So I am a fixed seat rower. Have you seen a Concept 2 rower in the gym? So they have a moving seat, and you use your legs to drive back, and then you transfer the power from your legs to your arms, and then you revert the power back to the legs and restart the whole thing all over again. And mine is a fixed seat, so there's no leg drive at all. So it's all just core and upper body. So I think I have an advantage there because I don't know how many people like me take fitness as serious as me.
Do you take your legs off?
Well, they stay mounted.
Okay.
So it's just kind of like sitting there.
So you do get like
a little, so I don't fall off. I have stability. It's basically what I have with the legs there.
Did the previous record holder have legs?
Not in my class. No.
So you're in the class of no legs.
Yeah, trunk and arms is what they call it.
Trunk and arms.
Yeah.
Cool. Our next question here is, do you have a book recommendation and why? And your answer is no. I guess that's just because you don't really invest in self-help stuff. Or,
yeah. I read at a third grade level.
Okay.
No, I just do a lot of reading.
You know that there's a thing, it's actually really new. It's called Audible. You can actually listen to a book instead of having to read it.
I think the last book I read or listened to, it was The Carnivore Diet. And I don't remember who it was, but it was interesting.
Shout out.
What is the carnivore diet?
Exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah, meat. Now, there's certain ways to do it. A lot of people don't
just meat?
Well, no, it's other stuff. That's what I was going to say. A lot of people just eat meat and cheese, and they're like, oh, carnivore. But there's more to it, right? You have to eat fruits. I personally eat avocado, I eat blueberries, and then like my really carb sources are just those fruits and then honey. And everything else is raw dairy and then meat. So we use... I'm a little bougie. I do a lot of wild game. So like elk, bison. I ate bison sausage this morning with raw cheese. Shout out Nutrition World.
Is that where you're getting that shit? Nutrition World?
Yeah.
Shout out to Nutrition World. Where is Nutrition World?
Lee Highway, right?
Lee Highway and 153?
Mm-hmm.
So you can get your wild game fix at Nutrition World.
Yeah, and then we also order from Force of Nature. They ship out the meat and everything like that.
Cool. So when you're working out, I guess you don't really have to listen to this since you're only working out for like a minute, right?
Well, we'll go with that. Yeah, I just work out for a minute.
No, but do you like jam? Are you listening to music, or are you listening to a podcast or anything like that?
Music mainly.
What do you listen to?
So it wasn't a phase. I like emo stuff. I like screamo. All of that.
Did he just say screamo?
Yeah.
Favorite screamo band? We can shout out his favorite band.
So I like I Prevail. I like Wage War. I like. So I grew up a fan of Incubus. It has a completely different line of the spectrum there, but I don't know. Anything that has a good beat and yells and then sings, that'll work. That'll do it. And what's that new stuff everyone's listening to? Funk or something? I don't know. It's like the beat. It's like marshmallow.
Is.
So it's
marshmallow. All of these words are just not making any sense to me.
No. So screamo's like they sing and then they yell, right? It's not just like heavy metal where they yell the whole time. The death growl, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, they only death growl a little bit. Yeah.
Intermittent yelling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you give us an example?
Absolutely not. No.
You suck. Jen, you know what you're talking about. Can you give us a little bit of screamo
Absolutely not.
funk?
But there's some options for our listeners there.
Jason, is there any other interesting factoids that our listeners should know about you, except for, the obvious: no legs, screamo, funk, wild game, catch a lift? What else is going on that we need to know about?
That's really it. That's me.
So we normally wrap up with the question, going back to square one, and your answer included telling yourself to suck it up and get going. There was a 6 to 7 month period of darkness. Can we talk about that?
Yeah. So anytime there's a life-changing or a life-altering thing that happens to us, it's very easy to get lost in the darkness. And the darkness is, depression and just feeling like, oh, I lost who I was. Like my whole life is over, but it's not.
Was this right after your accident? It was,
yeah. So I remember seeing my legs for the first time. I remember telling myself I'm completely fine, making my dad hold my legs while I was in the bed and still doing push-ups with like half a hand. And that was just my way of trying to say, hey, just keep going, keep moving forward, right? But it was fake. It was a mask. I gained a lot of weight when I got hurt just because I got very complacent. I'm just like, well, I just lost my legs. I don't know what I'm going to do. My hand doesn't work. This is miserable. It's worse than death, right? That's what I thought. It wasn't until that 6-7 month grace period that I realized, like, hey, you know what? Life is what you make it. It's not the end of my life. It's the end of a life. It's like a chapter in a book, right? Just flip the page and keep going. And once I was able to really comprehend and believe the words I was saying, that really changed my outlook a lot. I went to the gym again. I started doing, I remember I was told I'd never be able to weight bear again on my hand. So just for reference, so my hand doesn't have any knuckles. I have one knuckle on my index finger, and then the bone in it is from my hip, and it's actually smaller than my other hand by a lot. So I started to work out, started to do bench pressing again, and so I remember I started doing just the bar for bench press, and I did 135, and then I realized like my hand doesn't hurt. So once I found out the quality of life the medical staff was telling me that I was going to live wasn't the actual truth, that pushed me further as well. And I think people need to understand you can live that quality of life, and things and situations are only as bad as you make it, no matter what. No matter if its end result is the end of a life, don't spend those last months, depressed and stressing, right? If it were me, I would spend the last months writing notes, writing videos for my children, writing videos for my wife, everything, first loves, heartbreaks, first jobs, things like that, right? I would do these things because it's important for me to be there for them. But then, I realized that I could really almost do anything that I put my mind to. It's going to be a lot harder. But now I bench over 425 pounds now.
I'm going to kind of refocus on Jen's question. If you could go back to square one and talk to yourself, like you say, suck it up. But I think we know that that's, your mentality, but it's not the actual thing that you would tell yourself after this 6 or 7 month period. And this is not just for wounded veterans. It's because people get in car wrecks. They have strokes, heart attacks. They break their ankle. They get in a bad place because it's easy to. But tell us, like, legitimately, coming out of this, was it like, did you start writing notes to your loved ones? What was it that made that light show up again at the end of the tunnel?
So the very moment I decided, I still remember, I had a dental appointment and I was lazy. I didn't want to walk. I didn't want to put my legs on. But I told myself that I was going to put my legs on and walk to that dental appointment. It was only like 600 feet from my barracks room. And that was the first hurdle. And after that, that's what changed my mindset. But honestly, what works for me isn't going to work for everybody. You have to find out, like dieting and workout regimens, right? People put that out there because it worked for somebody. That doesn't essentially mean it's going to work for you. You and I could do the same stuff over and over. You'd have a different outcome than me. I guess I have to just say again, like life is only, all right, the situation is only as bad as you make it, right?
That's fair.
If I could go back there and say something, it probably wouldn't be suck it up. It probably just gonna be like, you're all right. You're going to be all right. And I wouldn't believe myself, but, nothing lasts forever, right? Yeah, they get better, get worse, but it's the mentality that really shifts it.
Put on your fucking legs. That's what's up.
Yeah.
We're all guilty of being lazy sometimes, or allowing ourselves not to put on our proverbial legs. But I think you should definitely pat yourself on the back, because you do have to put on your legs every day. The rest of us, don't have to go through that, and we still have a lot of excuses. So all jokes aside, again, I think you should pat yourself on the back. We could say, well, I'm not going to the gym because I have an excuse, and we don't have to put on our legs. So good for you, dude. All right, dude. Thanks for your time. Appreciate you coming in.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for listening to the Square One podcast, brought to you by Omni Home Services. We represent Chattanooga Home Inspector, Nuclear Pest Control, Elevate Home Staging Design, Radon Eraser, and hopefully more business entities in the future. We release a new episode every Thursday. If you like this episode, share it with your friends, neighbors, real estate agents, or whoever. Make sure you subscribe to Spotify, Apple, or wherever the hell you listen to your podcasts.